Alrighty. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this croak fest known as a stream. Maybe, if I get all the settings right this time. Is the video coming through decently? I upped the bitrate, so it should be a bit more crisp than the last time I streamed. And we've got a noise filter, so you shouldn't be able to hear me on the keyboard this time. So that's definitely an improvement. How are we all this evening? Hope everyone's doing well. Alrighty, so I'm going to be clearing my throat and or coughing during this, so I plan to mute myself before I do this. There may be the occasion where I miss, so I apologize ahead of time. Yeah. So, yeah, I figured it would just do a small stream. Guys, if you want to ask some questions, you're more than welcome to ask. No guarantee that I'll answer them, but you can ask. It's free. Go for it. And whilst we shoot the shit and have a chat, I'll play this game in the background, multitasking, and show you how horrible I am at multitasking. It is a pleasure, and I am glad you enjoy it. I definitely... I like it when people say that it helps them at work or helps them in travel and stuff. It definitely makes me happy that it does help. Well, yeah. It's as free as it can be. Alrighty, so this is a bullet hell survival shooter. I get asked that question every time, and I keep trying to remember to go look for the name. But it's one of the first ones I did. And it basically turned out that humanity's driving force was boredom. They took over, like, the galaxy, and it was just because they were bored. And that one's kind of stuck with me as... typical of humanity, really. So I'm not going to really do the usual streamer thing where I have to talk constantly. If you ask me a question, I'll answer. Or if I see something interesting in the game, I'll say something. But I'm gonna keep it light on the talking. Those who've been around the channel for a while will remember me doing something similar 2 years ago when I lost my voice. I don't know. I mean, there's so many answers to the Fermi's paradox, and I think that's why it's still debated, because there's just so little evidence for what is actually the answer. Some of them are fun to think about, some of them are less fun, like, we're the first ones. Well, that's kind of sucks. Yes, boredom is definitely the mother of invention. It sounds familiar, but I can't remember the title. It's the special power of this character. Oh, and this gun. So the bullets just bounce around until they hit something. Regardless of where you aim, so it's an easily streamable character, so I can half keep an eye on what I'm doing and then half keep an eye on chat. No worry, hey buds, it's all good, and I'm sure it's just a very, very light head cold with post-nasal drip. And it's just sat in my vocal cords, just made me a bit hoarse. So I decided not to push it and do more damage. As far as I know, Angelica, it is sorted out, but YouTube is infamous for not telling us what the fuck's going on, ever. So I think we're good, but they could just randomly demonetize my channel again. It's not like I get anybody to speak to there, I don't get any warning. Well, I didn't the last time. But from what I can see on Twitter, there's been less narrators being demonetized over the last 2 months. So maybe they've gotten the bot a little less trigger happy. Or maybe they're waiting for us to get into a false sense of security. The last time it was because of repetitive content. And that's all they would tell me. There was no warnings, there was no video demonetization, they just hit me with the whole channel demonetization in one go. Thankfully, luckily, everybody helped out. They went onto Twitter and annoyed the ever-living shit out of YouTube until they gave me my channel back. Or gave me my monetization back. But I've seen it take up to a month for some narrators to get their stuff back. Or their monetization back. And the thing that really sucks with it is it's not only like adverts, it's channel members as well. So channel members lose out if that happens. And super chats. You no longer can get super chats. So any form of you guys giving money directly to me would be removed as well, which is a bit ridiculous. As far as I know, you need to get about 100,000 subs, and then you can start applying for a YouTube partner. The problem is, those guys are marketing guys, and the people that ban you are not marketing guys, so there's normally a very big disconnect between a YouTube partner manager and the department that bans you. Well, I mean, I thought I was safe after I got my channel back, but then on Twitter I saw another narrator got hit for the second time in a year. And that's when I changed the content to have fish and stuff as B-roll footage. As a, I don't know, Hail Mary pass to leave me alone. To make the video content as unique as the audio content. I don't know whether it'll actually work, but I'd rather do something than nothing. It seems that every time they tweak the monetization bot to get rid of TTS channels, it affects a whole bunch of normal narration channels. And, I mean, something I learned was that scrolling text, just scrolling text, is technically against terms of service. Not terms of service, community guidelines. And that's just ridiculous. Well, my wife had been wanting to get fish for a while, and I was like, I don't really want to, because my dad used to breed them when I was young, so, you know, I got enough of them then. But then when we were trying to figure out easy B-roll content, it's like, okay, let's do a fish tank. That's random. It's random enough that a computer program is going to see it as random. And hopefully it'll leave me alone. Maybe it'll like the fish. So there is that. But that's also why we got the second channel. That was from the demonetization. I created the second channel as a backup. So if the main channel ever does go down again, I can just stop posting on the second channel. And we should be able to just march on while I try to get the main channel back. And then the third channel is just a completely different form of content. Again, in case they hit the first two channels. And it's something different, which is nice. I've got 3 different types of B-roll content that I do. TFOS gets fish. The weekday series get miniature painting and 3D printing, and the weekend series gets gameplay. So it's not the same visual content all the time. We swap it up in between the different types of videos. Third channel's doing okay. We've hit the 1,000 subscriber. That was pretty cool. And we're about 800 hours out of 4,000 hours. The views are coming in. The comments are nice. I mean, it's also a new thing. Writing for the wife, and the editing is, not the main channel sort of thing. So, a learning experience for everyone. Yeah, First Contact has 3D printing and sci-fi miniatures. I'm playing with a mouse and keyboard because that's what I'm used to. I would say it'd probably be easier on the hands if you had a gamepad. Well, I mean, First Contact used to be a weekend series, and then I changed it back to a weekday series because I'm just so far behind. We're still 350 chapters behind. I honestly don't think we'll ever get caught up. Unless I specifically dedicate all my reading to First Contact, then we would catch up. No, I mean, I think we're sitting at somewhere in the region of 2 million words, which is roughly 18 Lord of the Rings trilogies, unabridged. The problem is narrating a story isn't the same as reading a story, so I'm currently a bit burnt out on First Contact. And normally, if you're reading a story and you're burnt out on it, you just skip it a couple days and then you just go back. Well, for me, it's a different story. It becomes a lot more difficult because I don't just read it once, I read it multiple times, the same parts over and over again. So, series burnout becomes quite significant. I'm actually thinking of taking a bit of a break on First Contact because I've done it with series before where I'm slightly burnt out on it and I force myself through it. But the burnout doesn't go away, it just gets worse and worse and worse, to the point where you're like, I don't want to read this series ever again. And I don't really want that to happen to First Contact. So I might just give it a bit of a break for a while. And then come back to it at a later point. Yeah, I mean, it's very different when you narrate a story. I mean, think about any series that you read, and there might be one part that you're not super thrilled about, so you just skip it every time it happens. I can't do that. I have to read it all. With and then read it multiple times, not just once. So it can get quite rough, especially if you leave it and you just push through. You just end up not liking the series at all, and then just never doing it again. I hope the clicking of the mouse isn't coming through for you guys. I did put a noise filter on to try and avoid that. As long as it's not annoying. One thing I don't like about this character, or this specific mechanic, is the main shooting button. You can just hold down the mouse button and it goes. But when you choose this character with this secondary ability, you have to click every time. I could. But then you forget the macros on, and then you click the wrong button in doing something else and accidentally delete the document you're on. Not that I've ever done that too much. But hopefully I'll be back to recording tomorrow, next day. Shouldn't be too much to recover from. I mean, my sinuses are a lot better today than yesterday, which means my throat will be a lot better tomorrow. Cool, no worries. Hope you have a good one, and we'll see you again next time. Which will probably be tomorrow, next week. I'm thinking of trying to get the stream going at least once a week. Makes it a lot easier to touch base with everybody, let people know what's happening. That crying is the sound of my ISP. When I was testing it out before the stream started, I was running it through a VPN, because I normally run through a VPN, and the VPN just would not have it, so I had to unsheath and just run it raw. This is just one of those niggly things. I mean, honestly, I don't even have a fever or anything else. It was just one bad day of sinusitis. And now it's just sitting in my throat a bit. Which is to be expected. I mean, I've had this before and I've pushed through it before and it's just caused damage at a longer run. I could very well just repost these. Shouldn't be a problem. And then YouTube has the job of keeping it safe. I don't have to save it on my hard drive or anything. Although hopefully next stream I can up the bitrate a bit so that it's at the recommended level. Although the YouTube studio isn't moaning, so... Yeah, VPN slows everything down. I mean, they claim that it doesn't, but it does, just by its very nature. Whether that is acceptable or not is up to your usage. Good evening, Christopher. How you doing? Yeah, I think they will do that as well. But they seem to be pushing streaming a bit more as well. Just gonna drink some water quickly. Well, I say water, it's caffeine. It's not really water. But yeah, YouTube seemed to be pushing quite heavily into the streams and shorts. I can't really see a way to push the channel to use the shorts. I mean, I used to do news clips or like science news. But a lot of people weren't happy with that, so I probably won't do that again. But streaming I can do, but it'll probably be on a Saturday, which is normally my day off of recording. So this is not quite the same as recording, so it shouldn't be a problem. The doggo is around somewhere, sleeping. It's a pleasure, Christopher. I don't think it's related to VTubers. I think it's specifically because of Twitch. YouTube's been trying to get into that market for a very long time. And they've grown significantly in relation to streams, especially with like the big streamers that they've brought over from Twitch. So yeah. But with Twitch dropping the exclusivity clause, it changes a lot of things. because that's one of the reasons that I've never really dual streamed to Twitch, because it has to be exclusive content if you're a partner. Although I think on YouTube, the most super chatted people are all VTubers. And YouTube gets 30% of that. % of every super chat. That is a heck ton of money. Although a lot of those VTubers get shafted, because YouTube takes 30%, and like most of the like HoloLives or whatever they call the production companies, they take like 90% of what's left. I mean, even 50%. So you're walking away with, say, $100. YouTube takes 30. You're left with 70, and then you walk away with basically $35 per $100 donated before taxes. That is a serious chunk. Uh, 35% was half of 70%. After YouTube's taken their cut. YouTube is crying because my bitrate is low. I can't understand why it's crying with all these bullets. It's all about getting a dedicated audience. I mean, I earn a livable wage, and I have a very relatively small audience compared to bigger YouTubers. So, I mean, it's about finding that sweet spot, and then hopefully not having a company shaft you. Because it's not only the immediate things, it's like likenesses and merch, and if you leave, you don't have rights to your voice anymore. You have to give up all your rights. It's insane. You'd be taxed on what you earn as an individual. So, using the $100 example, you'd get taxed on if your company took 50% of what you earned. So, YouTube would take $30 from the $100 donated, your production company would take $35 from the $70 that's left. And then you get taxed on the $35 that you've earned individually. Normally it's net with individual taxes. Now they might be running it through a company and you're an employee and you work on a commission basis and the taxes might be a bit different there, but generally that's how it would work. The company would probably get the brunt of the taxes from because they would be handling the intermediary stuff. But I'm not exactly sure how the taxes would work. But in general, that's how they would work. Yeah, I think that's universally. I've known some people that worked in charity stuff, and yeah, almost all of it is ridiculous. That doesn't even go to the charity you want. That's why if I want to donate to a place or something, I'll give it to directly to an organization rather than using intermediary charities. I mean, I knew somebody whose job, and she got paid a crap ton of money, was to try find ways to spend money, charity money. If it's in the contract you signed, it's in the contract you signed. The music industry is horribly bad for that sort of stuff, where they'll own your image and likeness in perpetuity, which means basically forever. That's why if you ever get a contract like that sort of stuff, you need to read it. You need to, if you can, get somebody who knows contracts to read it, because they can shaft you so badly. But there's a reason why when a VTuber, what do they call it, graduates, they don't take their models with them and they don't take any of their old content with them. It's because it belongs to the company. No worries, hand sanitizer. I'm glad you enjoyed the content, and I hope it helped. I'll take. I've been resting as much as I can, but boredom. You know, I was playing games anyway, so figured I might as well just stream me playing games. Maybe somebody will get entertainment out of it, other than me. Well, I mean, copyright isn't an international law, so it very much depends on where you signed the contract, who holds the contract, and I mostly work under American law, even though I'm from South Africa, because that's where YouTube is situated. Oh, phone call. Well, message. Somebody should have put their phone on silent. Yeah, with the like Royal Road stuff, with all the contracts going out with there, I would love to look at some of the contracts being signed, just to see what it says, because I'm pretty sure there's probably some weird language there that's gonna screw somebody over eventually. Yes, but it does vary, but it also, if your content's in America, which mine is, then I have to oblige by American copyright law and South African copyright law, basically. Basically err on the side of whichever one's the worst, whichever one's the more restrictive. But basically, I think the EU and US have the worst, most strict copyright law. So if you base it off of generally what copyright is in America, you should be fine in most cases. It's not guaranteed. I mean, I know South African copyright law, and this is a long time ago, 20 years ago. Used to be if a company didn't have a local company registered in South Africa, then their copyright was null and void. Which I'm sure that many international companies would shit themselves with these days. I'm also pretty sure that the local law has changed since then. It was very badly. Well, yeah, you had to have a local copyright holder. So for us, we had two companies that had all videos, movies. They brought them all into the country, so they owned the copyright. But computer games, for the most part, didn't have local representatives. So there was tons of funny business around computer games. But I'm pretty sure that's all been patched up since then. Agent, Dungeon Life's a weekday series. It is currently Sunday for me, so I'm not sure where in the world you are. It'll be tomorrow at the normal time. And I can guarantee that it's tomorrow because it's already recorded, so it's not dependent on my voice being better tomorrow. I post at the exact same time every day. There's a new video every 6 hours during the week, and on weekends is just TFOS. TFOS are 12 hours apart, always. And weekday series should, in theory, be 12 hours apart, but I'm not great with the second one, First Contact, getting that out properly. I mean, my time is GMT +2, and the morning video is at 8 a.m., and then the evening one is at 8 p.m. And then for the weekday series, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. was the only way that I could basically make it so that everybody gets a decent hour for new content. Yep. 4 videos a day, every weekday, and then 2 or more on a Saturday. Depends on whether I've done a weekend series, a catch-up series, like There's No Epic Loot or Retreat Hell, and then that'll go on the weekend. Roughly produce 7 to 10 hours of content a week. A 10-minute video would take about 5 hours, I think, total. Oh, no, 2 or 3 hours. Huh. I would have thought for sure that it would have supported gamepad. Very weird. I've got a gamepad connected to my computer, I just never use it because I'm so used to a mouse and a keyboard, I just automatically use that. Yeah, so, I mean, I've got my wife doing the editing now. She was retrenched a couple months ago. So she's doing the editing. That's a full-time job, just doing the scrolling text. So yeah, I'd say 2 or 3 hours per 10-minute video, easy. And that includes everything: uploading, doing the thumbnails, scrolling text, recording, editing the recorded stuff for the video, the visual, whatever. If I'm doing miniatures, that includes painting. And just give me a second. Trying something. Desktop noise. Yes, desktop. I plugged something in, I know. Remarkable. It's very weird that it doesn't support gamepad. This is like a perfect game for a gamepad. I make all the thumbnails, but it's not from scratch. I just Google images and then slap something together quickly. But everything takes time, and there's not a limited amount of time. But to save time, just drinking something quick. To save a bit of time, like I keep to a theme for series. That's why all the Dungeon Life thumbnails involve a house, so it's quicker just to quickly do the weekday series, and then First Contact is general science fiction backgrounds. So yeah, before, when I was doing everything myself, I was working 14 to 16 hours a day, even 7 days a week. I just didn't record on the 7th of Saturdays, but I did other work, looking for stories, stuff like that. And probably, now that we're 2 people, we're working about 12 hours a day. Because with the new format of the videos, the scrolling text takes that much longer to do. And then we also added in the extra stuff of doing the original content for the 3rd channel. No, YouTube is my full-time profession. No worries about it. I mean, I've said it before. I'm not gonna hide anything. I earn a good salary, enough to look after my family, enough to hire my wife, as when she got retrenched. So I do, and the biggest problem with YouTube is that it's easy come, easy go, and that's the biggest worry for me. Easily, I mean, between 1 month and the next, it can fluctuate 20 to 50%. Which, when it fluctuates up, that's great, but when it fluctuates back down again, that's not as great. But as long as you plan for that sort of stuff, it's okay. The problem with the scrolling text, the big problem, is I don't talk at a normal or at a set pace. So action scenes I talk faster, and then like data dumps I talk slower. And it also depends on how the story is written. If a story is written where it has lots of short paragraphs and then a long paragraph, doing scrolling text is a pain in the ass. So what you have to do is you have to check every minute or 30 seconds to make sure that you're on target and that the words are on the screen. And then if it's not, adjust the text up and down to make sure that the text is in the right place. When you're doing that on a full screen, you've got more wiggle room to get away with. But when it's in a smaller area, which is a third of the screen now, it takes a bit more or less wiggle room, so there's more effort. I've had this discussion with the Discord a couple times. The reason that most people don't do scrolling text is because it is actually a pain in the ass. And there's not really an easy way around it. Although, to be fair, if you're doing it like screenshots of the text, I'd imagine it takes about the same sort of time. Because you have to then advance the story the same length of the text that you've got the screenshot for, which is not a determined amount. So you can't say 15 seconds per screenshot or 20 seconds per screenshot. You have to go backwards and forwards and then find where you transition between the two screenshots and then change the screenshot. Aaron, thank you. Glad you like it. I mean, with the working 12 hours now, it's just I spend more time on thumbnails and stuff like that than I did before because I just didn't have the time. So when there's a vacuum of work, work finds a way of making more work for you. I mean, it's fun work, but it's still work. Like the 3 hours, no, it's not 3 hours, hour and a half of mini painting per week for Dungeon Life. It's an hour and a half I have to sit down and record myself and then edit that. So lots of little things add up to taking... No, that's not what I wanted. Although on a happy note, I'm pretty sure we're going to hit 4,000 videos on the channel this year. That's cool. We're currently at, I think, 3,500? 3,400. Yeah, I'm not complaining. It's better thumbnails, better interactions, better draw to the channel. It all helps. I would love to hit 50,000 subs this year, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen. Should get close, probably like 45, which is awesome. It's mind-boggling, if I have to say. This channel has definitely taken off a lot more than I thought it ever would. The software you're using is DaVinci Resolve. I'm not sure how it handles layers, mainly because the editing that I do is so basic for a video editor. It's actually quite ridiculous, but DaVinci Resolve is one of the few ones that handles large pictures for what we use for the text. Most other video editors don't allow for as large a picture to be used as a scrolling text. I think it's also not necessarily focusing on the number, and you know, if I could maintain this for the next 20 years, that wouldn't be bad. But it's maintaining it that's the trouble. And the internet isn't a constant thing, so. And yes, this is hey, where's my character? I can't see it. There's too many bullets simulator. I think this is supposed to be Elder Ridge Horrors. But yeah, they look like squid. Octopi. Tentacled monsters. When they said bullet hell, they meant bullet hell. At least this game makes your bullets white and their bullets red, so you can easily see their bullets sometimes. Nuzrel, I'm glad my content helped. Glad you enjoyed it, and it helped you out. I think this game is just basically, the hard part is figuring out the good combos, and then once you've figured that out, remembering what those combos are. Although I'd imagine this is also a hate letter to all epileptics. Dear epileptics, here, have fun. Regards, developer. Liquid, so the voice sounds just as bad as before. Let's go spend some of these points. We're gonna go with that. water healer sounds good. True. True, they do. Although at this point there's this difficulty thing here, so it increases the difficulty each time. Let's play endless mode. Hello, Thurg, how you doing? Doing well, and you? Well, as well as can be. So the cool thing with the endless one is that it allows you to get the same upgrades over and over again, so it enables different builds. I'm glad to hear that. What's for dinner? Or what's for cooking? Well, we're heading into spring here, so the temperatures are finally heating up. Trees are starting to look green again. That's good. Although, with everywhere having a heat wave, I'm not looking forward to summer. Especially in my little recording dungeon. I mean, in England, it's crazy. No. Air conditioning isn't really a thing here. Well, it is, it's just really expensive. Also, if I did get air conditioning, I can't get the normal one because it makes a humming noise and the recordings would pick it up. So I'd need to do a audio booth heat control thing, which is even more of a pain in the ass and even more expensive. Got to run all the air conditioning through baffles and shit, just so it dampens the noise. Ice packs aren't going to really do much. Because sound dampening is also heat insulation, basically. So, when I set this room up, we worked it out that this room is roughly 3 to 5 degrees above outside temperature. Hopefully this year I can get the baffles in with sound dampening, but we are planning on moving in the next couple months, so I have to wait until we've moved before I do that sort of stuff. Well, hopefully we're moving in the next couple months. Good evening, Generic. How are you doing this evening? In summer, I do use a fan, but I put the fan on before and after recording. It helps a bit. But if it gets really bad, I just record before the sun comes up or after the sun goes down and then sleep during the day. Done that before as well. Electricity is barely an option for me at this point. Although in the last couple of months it's been decent. David? I'm not sure who David is. Good evening, Alex. How you doing? Cheers, Kashkara. Hope you have a good one. Ah. Yeah, I don't really affect the stuff here. I mean, property is quite expensive. But, I think it's stabilized over the last 2 years. It hasn't been too bad, but it's... I'm tired of living in the city. I want to move out of the city. So, we're planning on doing that. But, I mean, even if I had the cash now, and I could just slap down a stack of money in front of somebody, it'll still take 3 to 9 months before I can move in. Because government departments, signing the correct paperwork, and buying a house is not a quick process. In fact, I'd be surprised if I could move before the end of the year. I think the reason why it didn't affect property prices here as much is we were only in lockdown for, I think, 6 weeks total. I think in places where the lockdowns were longer would have affected property prices more. Well, I mean, I found an area that I'm happy with, and there's decent properties and property prices out there. So I'm happy with that. It's just literally, even if I had the money now, it would still take me months to do it because of paperwork. Actually wasn't that long. The housing outside of the city, the prices dropped significantly. So, I mean, I've lived in a city all my life, so pretty much anything that's not in a city seems reasonable to me. I mean, you're getting, I don't know, properties 20, 30, 40 times the size for the same price that you'd pay in the city. Depending, obviously, on the area. My actual biggest worry is internet. I need to find a place that has internet access. Decent internet access. Yeah. That happens in the city as well. I mean, in theory, I can. I mean, I put my name down. I'm on the waiting list for the Starlink thing. No idea if that's actually going to happen in this country. Or if it's going to be worth it, but time will tell. The places I'm looking at barely have 4G, which works out quite expensive, but it's a cost I'm willing to eat to not be in the city. And push comes to shove, I just work during the week and I drive to the city on the weekend and upload. And then just schedule everything to release for the week. There's a bunch of YouTubers that do that sort of thing, especially the homesteading guys. Good evening, Timmy. How you doing? Oops. Lid did. One of the other things about moving up the city to a more rural area or a farm-related area is I can probably get solar there and it won't be as big of a problem. So our reliance on infrastructure for electricity is reduced. A lot of our farms and plots have borehole water, so water won't be a problem. It's basically just internet becomes the big problem. Alridden, I'm glad you enjoy the content. And it is very much my pleasure. And definitely for the algorithm. It's a mean mistress. She treats you well, she treats you bad. You keep coming back. less splat. Let's drink some water quickly. And this is probably gonna call it, I don't know, 15 minutes. It'll be an hour and a half streaming. That's a decent time, I think. And if my voice isn't better by tomorrow, probably stream again tomorrow. Gotta keep that algorithm happy. If you're not producing content, then the algorithm doesn't like you. Probably bring the playlist I used to play when I was streaming to make the background music a bit more engaging. Two ghosties. Thank you. I'm sure I will. It's a very minor thing. It's not nearly as bad when I had COVID earlier the year. Should be back on my feet in a couple days. But thank you very much. This is going to be a ghosty booth. Kicking A and taking N. Or something. Three ghosties. Gotta get to the point where I don't have to click anything. Well, we're not quite there yet. Oops. Okay, guys, I think that's going to be me for the evening. Thank you all for popping past, asking questions, sticking around, having a chat, you know, all the good stuff. And yeah, I'll probably see you all tomorrow. Depends on how the voice is going. But it shouldn't be more than a couple days, and then we should be back to normal schedule. I can only hope that it's only a couple days. You too, Alridon, and everybody else. Stay safe. Listen to more of my content. As you know, it's always there. It's evergreen content. Cool. Glad you enjoyed, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.